It may sound like a demeaning term, but incredibly, there are now more than 200,000 young Australian women who have either become or are trying to be sugar babies. Their ambition is a sweet life of pampered luxury, paid for by older, sometimes much older, men. For the so-called sugar daddies, the equation is simple. The wealthier they are, the more attractive they are. But it's not hard to read between the lines here. Sugar baby is often code for sex worker. And the moneybags men can often be crinkled-up creeps. So is this sugar baby phenomena about empowering women or exploiting them? By day, Alex is a junior executive in Melbourne. By night, she's a sugar baby. On her way to meet a man who could be her father. Except Bob is a sugar daddy. So you are after the sugar daddy's wealth?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you'd be lying if you say that you're looking for a sugar daddy, but it didn't matter about the money.
What attracted you to becoming a sugar daddy to begin with?
It's really very simple. I like sexy women.
It's sold as the perfect arrangement for modern times.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
A no strings, no romance relationship between a rich older man and a much younger woman.
Thank you.
How do you see yourself as a desirable partner for these women?
Well, some of the women have said I'm not bad looking for my age. And I guess that's one thing, if I may say myself, with all due modesty.
Cheers.
Cheers. Lovely to meet you.
I'm saying that if you have the money to attract women, by all means use it, much like the guy that has the big muscles or the guy that has the suave looks. Use any means you can to attract the opposite sex.
Brandon Wade is the man behind the first and the biggest sugar baby website, Seeking Arrangement. These sites peddle the fantasy that young women can find rich sugar daddies to support them through university. And Australian girls are signing up in hundreds of thousands. Is this a sort of growing industry, if you like, among young women?
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely see more and more girls do it every day. Yeah.
Monica is studying social work at a leading Melbourne university and doesn't want to be identified. Seeking Arrangement claims it has nearly 180,000 Australian uni students on its books as sugar babies. Within your friendship group at uni, are there many other young women undertaking this sugar baby lifestyle?
Well, yeah, one of my friends at uni is doing it as well. She just does it here and there when she, is really struggling to pay her rent.
Bob finds his sugar babies on an app called Sugar Daddy Meet. What is Bob looking for on these websites?
Sexy young women with whom I can have a rapport.
And sex is just part of that package?
Sex is part of the package.
Do you have a type? Do you have an age bracket?
I don't have a specific age bracket. I usually say no older than 60, and younger age, I don't usually go younger than 30.
How lucrative is this for you?
So for me, I probably get between $1,000 and $2,500 a month between like gifts and physical cash.
If you are poor and you're constantly hanging out with the poor people, you're never going to find opportunities in life.
Profound philosophy.
Oh, it's true.
Born in Singapore, Brandon Wade now calls Las Vegas home, where he's become very, very rich.
Cheers.
On the back of his sugar baby enterprise.
A sugar baby would be typically younger, ambitious, who know exactly what they want, and they want to set really a higher standard for who they date. Why would you settle for dating a loser? I mean, you wouldn't. You want to set goals. You want to be dating somebody that can actually help you advance your life.
Depending on your point of view, Wade has either rewritten the rules of romance along purely financial guidelines, or he's peddling a new app-friendly form of prostitution.
What happens in most romantic relationships? People beat around the bush. They lie. They project themselves as somebody else that they're not.
This is a lie. No offence, Brandon, that's a lie. What are you
That's
even
not a
basing
lie.
that on? Are you selling a fantasy? Is this real?
It is real. I'm living the life. So, where should we go shopping?
I mean, do we want to get you the Dior shoes?
I
the
do
guy
love
shoes?
those
We should
Dior
go just
shoes.
try.
Brandon happily paraded his own sugar baby, 22-year-old Zoe, but we were only allowed to talk to her off camera. How old is Zoe?
Zoe's 22.
And how old are you?
I'm 48.
Is there a bit of a creepy element to the sugar daddy, sugar baby phenomenon?
Some people may think so, but not really. You know, I think at the end of the day, guys tend to mature a lot later.
And as a sugar baby, she just happens to be young and beautiful.
Well, you know, I can't help that I'm attracted to young and beautiful women, much like most men are.
You buy her pretty things, you buy her expensive things, and she lives with you in Vegas.
Yeah, and she's going to school and she's looking at launching a business for herself. So she's constantly thinking about what does she want to do for her own future as well.
She's not going to school, I asked her.
Oh, she's not going to school? Well, she is taking some classes, but she's definitely looking for sort of what she wants to ultimately do. Yeah.
Still to come.
Here's what my lawyer said. He goes, you take the number of days you've been married, the number of times you've had sex, and you assess your price per factor.
Wow, that's really cold and brutal, isn't it? No love, no regrets.
This is sex for survival.
Reality bites for the sugar babies. Have you slept with them?
All of them?
Any of them, all of them?
I have to count.
That's next on 60 Minutes. If you believe Brandon Wade, the man who's made a fortune with his website Seeking Arrangement, being a sugar baby is a fantasy lifestyle, like the one enjoyed by his own sugar baby, Zoe. What is the fantasy that you're selling?
I think at the end of the day, I'm selling happiness. I'm selling the fact that life is really short and we're all on earth for a reason. We want to be happy.
What makes people happy?
For different people, it's different things. For some, it's about finding love and romance in a way that makes them happy. For others, it's to be surrounded by 3 or 5 or 10 beautiful women and live a really loud, life that everyone is envious of.
Brandon Wade is often called an e-pimp because for all intents and purposes, this is sex work in disguise or undercover sex work.
Professor Peter Fleming from Sydney's UTS literally wrote the book on what he calls sugar daddy capitalism.
According to Brandon Wade, love is for poor people, and that if you've got enough money, you can buy it, and that this happens anyway. So according to this business ideology, you can reduce everything, including intimate relationships and romance, to a financial exchange.
He told me that he owns internet marketing agencies and e-commerce, so that's what piqued my interest. So I just want to go
I was
and
looking to
see
get in her
what's
pants
happening.
ultimately.
I want a little sugar in my bowl.
Look what I got.
As part of Brandon Wade's carefully preened American publicity machine, Seeking Arrangement introduced us to Nick and Candice.
That's nice.
They are what sells the fantasy. They're apparently everything a sugar daddy, sugar baby coupling should be and can be.
My old marriage, I was giving, my ex-wife, her credit card Amex bill would rack up
Everything.
10, 20 grand a month. So please explain that.
So is it sugar daddy, sugar baby?
So here's what my lawyer said. He goes, you take the number of days you've been married, the number of times you've had sex, and you divide that by your alimony. He goes, that's your price per fuck factor.
Wow, that's really cold.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Your PPFF score. So, so when I found that score and, I said, wow, I can afford to pay a lot for sugar babies in that case.
Candace says she was hoping to further her career when she met Nick on the Seeking Arrangement website. And Nick isn't her only sugar daddy. After all, seeking these arrangements is all about the money, not the love. These relationships, these arrangements with sugar daddies, have you slept with them? Have you been intimate with them?
All of them?
Any of them? All of them?
Oh, sure. Let me think about it. I have to count.
It's a yes or no question.
Do I have sex with all of them? No.
You have sex with some of them?
Some of them.
And you receive payment for that? Nick claims he spent his youth making his millions in e-commerce and never had time to party. And a couple of unhappy marriages along the way also seems to have contributed to his view of women, now exemplified by sugar babies.
I went to a music festival and I took like 25 girls, all paid for, just flew them in from all over the United States.
But you're bringing over this group of girls and they're on your money, right?
Yeah.
So you're
Full
controlling
control.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, I mean, for me, it's just like, it's just fun, like
It's fun to control the young girls.
Well, control in a sense, meaning like, hey, since I'm bringing you here, if you want to go out, ask me, go out and have fun for an hour or two, but come back.
So it's an ego boost.
It is an ego boost, yeah. It's fun, though.
She gave so much head, she's headless.
And just in case I missed the hard sell, Nick tells me he even hires sugar babies as office decoration.
I'm a personal brand, right? So I don't necessarily want to go out and hang out with people that aren't going to make me look good. So, having girls around, believe it or not, like I can go into a conference with, 10 guys on my team. And it's tough talking to a room full of guys in marketing and advertising and tech, right? You bring one hot girl in a room, guess what? Every dude wants to talk to her.
Are you objectifying these women?
I mean, look, I don't make them do anything that they don't want to do, but,
But they're there because they're young and beautiful?
They're there because they're young and beautiful. Absolutely. I do have criteria.
I mean, you're taking empowerment away from women because you're using them as an object.
I would love to be objectified. So, if I look good and you wanted to use me in advertising and a bunch of women sit at home and masturbate to me or whatever you want to call it, let them do it, I'm ready for some objectification on guys, like, let's bring on the objectification. I'm going to start a Me For movement.
Your research has found that the reality of this sugar lifestyle doesn't fit the fantasy that they're trying to sell.
Well, don't believe the glamour. This is sex for survival.
According to UTS professor Peter Fleming, Brandon Wade's over-the-top fantasy couple, Nick and Candace, are part of the big lie being sold to young women.
By and large, the glamorous sugar babies are, used as the pinboard advertising for the website, but these are people that are generally economically desperate, who need to, pay for their university fees. This Brandon Wade's business model has basically found a way to exploit that desperation.
Why do you feel the need to be a sugar baby?
Because it helps me survive through uni, to be honest.
Melbourne University student Monica, who wants to stay anonymous, is one of the estimated 250,000 Australian women in total who've signed up to sugar baby websites.
I've learnt that what I was making in 2 weeks working in hospitality, I can make in about 3 to 4 hours on a date. So I'm able to live a comfortable lifestyle, pay all my bills, and it also gives me extra cash if I wanted to go out with my friends or, buy anything I like.
So there's a lot of demand, a lot of sugar daddies out there looking for younger women to hang out with and have sex with.
Yep, definitely.
How old are you, Bob?
60.
60. Is it a bit creepy for an older man to be on a website like this, dating younger women?
Maybe.
Do you feel like a creep?
No. So it's a little bit chilly.
In fact, hookups like tonight's between 60-year-old Bob and 24-year-old Alex are the real face of the modern online sugar daddy phenomenon.
Cheers. Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
For many of the men involved, it's basically an escort service packaged like a dating site.
Climbing the corporate ladder.
Yep.
For young women like Alex, it's a kind of Tinder with economic benefits.
And I like someone who's got that depth of thinking into the future. I've got friends my age who go out to clubs, they use dating apps, they're hooking up with guys, having sex with them, and never seeing them again. Whereas I don't want to waste my time with that. I can go to a sugar daddy, and even if the sex isn't great, I've got money out of it at the end of the day.
Just the whole premise of a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, does that set back the female cause?
I don't think it does. I think it's quite empowering as a woman to know that you can just be yourself and that you can get paid for it.
A lot of these sugar babies are really attracted to the idea that they can sell something of their own and make money out of it. It's sort of pocket money.
Well, there is that fantasy, and I think that it's been well crafted, this fantasy, this narrative that if you become a sugar baby, then you can, first of all, have an exciting dinner and date and, you know, be doted on by a 60-year-old man. So I think the fantasy is important for attracting sugar babies, but the flip side, the dark side, if you like, is a certain economic dependence.
For women who think they're going to find generous older men to fund their educational or a lavish lifestyle, is that the reality?
It's not a charity. No, I have a philosophy, and I sometimes explain it to young women, and they don't always get it. And when a woman says to me, well, I kind of like the money but not give anything in return, I say, well, you're not really a good object in my philanthropy. I prefer to give it to a starving kid in Africa rather than to you. For a woman to find a guy who's going to be extremely generous without expecting sex in return, I would have thought is more the exception than the norm.
So is being a sugar baby just a glamorous sex worker? Are you glamorising sex work?
Yeah, essentially, it is glamorising sex work, and it's a lot of people use the sugar daddy, sugar baby thing to sort of help them sleep better at night because they're not saying that they're using an escort service.
Sugar baby is an interchangeable term.
I believe so, yeah.
Still to come, when life isn't so sweet.
If you don't give me X amount of money, I'm going to tell your wife.
And sugar daddies aren't so generous.
And he locked his doors. And he was like, yeah, well, you're coming home with me.
Did you go to the police? That's next on 60 Minutes. Most sugar baby websites claim sex is optional. It's a claim that can turn dangerous when young women believe it. Leela was barely 18 when she signed up as a sugar baby with the website Sugar Daddy Meet.
It's created to look a lot better than it is. And if you're not sexually ready to have sex with older men, then don't go on the website because you're pretty much putting yourself in that situation.
It was Leela's second only sugar daddy date, and she was abducted.
He's told me that we were going to a restaurant near the Botanical Gardens and his house was near there. And then we went straight past that place, the restaurant, and then I asked what was going on and he locked his doors. And he was like, yeah, well, you're coming home with me, things like that.
Leela's would-be sugar daddy demanded sex immediately and threatened her, saying he expected it for the money. How much did this guy pay you?
I ended up not asking for any money, as he dropped me at the station. Yeah, because I just wanted to leave. Spending his money would make me sick. Yeah, so no.
Did you go to the police?
No, I didn't. I was absolutely embarrassed. I didn't even tell my parents at that time because it was just too confronting and embarrassing for me at that time, yeah.
Leela complained to the Sugar Daddy Meet website. When 60 Minutes followed up, we were told the man who abducted her has 9 other complaints against him. The website banned him briefly, then let him back on with a warning.
Obviously anything can happen and some bad things can happen. To put economically wealthy men with younger women, but not to have any scrutiny or oversight from any authorities. If I'm a sugar daddy, I want to get what I pay for.
But Sugar Baby Monica warns that in this unregulated world, both sides of the transaction need to be wary. Would you ever exploit a sugar daddy?
Yep.
You would?
Yep.
How?
Just make up stories and make my situation a bit worse than it is.
But would you take advantage of a sugar daddy? Would you use the information you have on this sugar daddy to blackmail him, for example?
No, I don't think I'd go that far, no. No.
Is there a possibility where you could?
Yeah, if you're going to their home and things like that, and you're seeing pictures of their family and that, you could easily do something like that. Like, you know, if you don't give me X amount of money, I'm going to tell your wife. Yeah.
For what seems like an increasing number of young women like Alex, being a sugar baby is just about using an app to make money on the side. Except it's her body she's trading online.
The way I look at it is if you're in a relationship, there's usually transactions of money in a relationship. It's just the way it is. Like your boyfriend might buy you something, he might buy you gifts, or he might take you out for dinner. And to be honest, your boyfriend's going to buy you better gifts if you have sex with him than if you didn't have sex with him. So it's sort of the same as a sugar daddy.
Really? Is that,
Yeah.
is that so sex is a transaction full stop?
For most part, yeah.
That's how you see it?
That's how I see it.
Her declaration may shock, even outrage many women and men. But it's music to the ears of sugar daddy entrepreneur Brandon Wade.
Everything when it comes to human interaction or human relationships involves some sort of economic exchange at the end of the day. I think it's time for people to just, I guess, own up to that.
Well, that's not true. I mean, you know that. You know that's not true.
You are trying to promote this constant promotion by the media of the negative connotation of what a sugar daddy and a sugar baby is, and I need to just step in and say, we gotta stop that nonsense.
It's not negative. We're asking you legitimate questions.
But it
that people
is, because you
ponder when
keep
comes to
pointing
these
it back
stories.
to the transactional aspect of the relationship. Well, I'm saying every romantic relationship is transactional if you want to point and nitpick in that way. You know, when we start looking at how much my mother is paying for at home versus what my dad is paying for, you'll know what? My dad pays for a lot more because he has an income and my mother doesn't. So in that sense, he's paying for that entire relationship. So what, is my mother a whore? Absolutely not.
So if we think about the last resort trend of young women turning to sex work in order to make ends meet, then the sugar daddy business model, this Brandon Wade's business model, has basically found a way to exploit that desperation, to turn it into a market opportunity, to turn it into a business opportunity.
We live in a society that is all about financial transaction. And what is money at the end of the day? Money is service. Money is the ability to get things done. Money is resource. So a guy who brings you a cup of tea, you can equate that to dollars, because if you hire a servant to go and make you a tea, there's money associated with that service.
It's very convenient, though, isn't it, to equate this kind of sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship to a waiter in a bar serving you a cup of tea?
That's the nature of our society. Everything boils down to dollars and cents.
Well, it doesn't. You know that, and
But it does. Let's stop the bullshit. Let's cut the crap. Let's focus on what this really is. This really is somebody that's wealthy, and he just wants to find love. And that's what it is.
Hello, I'm Sarah Abo. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.